The Melodies of Stone, the Tale of Edelhart, and the Cursed Harp. In a far-off kingdom, ensconced within the protective caress of towering mountains, veiled beneath the shroud of misty clouds, lay the humble village of Lyrastone. It was no ordinary place. This modest hamlet was renowned far and wide for its musicians. The villagers held a deep love and a profound respect for the art of music. Harmonious melodies would echo throughout the day as artisans practiced their craft. However, the most adored and treasured member of the village was not the seasoned maestro but a young, bright-eyed lad named Edelhart. Edelhart, with his flaming red hair, sun-kissed skin, and lively green eyes, was the village's musical prodigy. Yet, the harmonious symphonies that the villagers produced eluded Edelhart. Though possessing a deep love for music, Edelhart lacked the innate skill that others in his village seemed to have been blessed with. His fingers, while graceful and slender, could not draw melodies from the strings of his harp, and his voice, though soft and pleasing, was off-tuned more often than not. However, undeterred by his shortcomings, Edelhart would spend every waking moment practicing, his determination burning brighter with each passing day. His home, a humble abode nestled between two mighty oak trees, was always alive with the music of his harp, no matter how imperfect it might have been. His spirits were never dampened, for he firmly believed that one day his dedication would bear fruit, and the music that flowed from his harp would be as harmonious as the seasoned musicians of Lyrastone. One late autumn day, as the fiery orange hue of the setting sun bathed Lyrastone in a warm glow, Edelhart ventured into the nearby mystical forest, known as the Veilwood. The forest was a source of countless myths and legends, and it was said that it was home to creatures and artifacts of magical origins. Edelhart had always held a fascination for the Veilwood, for he believed in its tales of magic and wonder. He thought that if there was any place he could find a solution to his musical predicament, it was here. As Edelhart strolled deeper into the forest, the foliage thickened, and the sunlight slowly began to recede. The chirping of crickets resonated through the silence of the forest, and the leaves rustled under the gentle breeze. As he delved further, his eyes caught sight of an ethereal glow emanating from a small clearing. Drawn by curiosity, he moved towards the source of the light. In the clearing, resting upon a bed of the forest's emerald moss, was a harp. Edelhart's heart pounded in his chest as he neared the harp. The glow it radiated was as soft as the rays of the moon, its color an alluring mixture of royal blue and twilight purple. It was carved from a wood he had never seen before, shimmering under the soft radiance. Exquisite patterns adorned the harp's body, and the strings seemed to be woven from silken moonlight. As he touched the harp, a wave of warmth spread from his fingertips through his entire body. It was as though the harp was alive, acknowledging his presence. With bated breath and a fluttering heart, Edelhart strummed the strings. A melody as serene as the stillness of the night, as beautiful as the silent dance of the stars in the moonlit sky, echoed through the clearing. It was a sound that transcended the earthly realms, a melody that stirred the soul and echoed the harmony of the cosmos. A wide smile spread across Edelhart's face as the notes enveloped him, filling his heart with a joy he had never known. His fingers danced on the strings, producing melodies he had only dreamed of. Overjoyed, Edelhart returned to his village, cradling the harp in his arms. The villagers gathered around him, their curiosity piqued by the magical glow of the harp. As Edelhart strummed its strings, their eyes widened in awe. The melodies were unlike anything they had ever heard, harmonious, captivating, and beyond earthly beauty. The villagers celebrated this newfound skill of their beloved Edelhart, believing that the days of hardship and constant practice had finally borne fruit. However, as the first light of dawn pierced the dark canvas of the night, a terrible change came over Edelhart. His flesh hardened, his movement ceased, and his warmth vanished. Before the horrified gaze of the villagers, their beloved Edelhart had turned to stone. As the reality of the situation dawned on the villagers, a heart-wrenching silence engulfed the village. The harp lay silent next to the statue that was once the village's beacon of perseverance and hope. Despite their grief, the villagers did not lose hope. They sought the help of wise hermits, knowledgeable scholars, and powerful sorceresses from neighboring kingdoms. Yet, no matter how powerful or learned the individuals were, they could not reverse the spell. However, as the last rays of the setting sun painted the sky in shades of pink and orange, something miraculous happened. The stone encasing Edelhart started to crack and crumble, revealing the young, vibrant lad they all loved. Yet, as the first rays of dawn broke, Edelhart would once again turn into a cold, lifeless statue. The villagers soon realized that the enchantment that cursed Edelhart was tied to the sun's cycle. While they were overjoyed to have him back, even if it was for only half the day, the sight of their beloved Edelhart turning to stone every morning was a sorrowful spectacle. However, they could not part with the magical harp as it had become an integral part of Edelhart and his music. They sought a cure for his curse, but to no avail. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. Edelhart continued to produce his enchanting music during the night, filling the hearts of the villagers with joy. Yet, the arrival of daylight always brought a sorrowful silence. The villagers had grown to accept this as their new normal, but Edelhart was determined to break free from this cycle. His spirit was not dampened. He faced this new challenge with the same determination he had shown in his pursuit of musical prowess. Edelhart decided to venture into the Veilwood once more. Perhaps, he thought, the forest that gave him the harp held the key to breaking his curse. His nighttime wanderings were accompanied by the comforting chirping of nocturnal creatures and the soft rustle of the forest leaves. He explored hidden pathways, consulted wise ancient trees, and befriended magical creatures. One night, guided by the celestial luminescence of the full moon, he stumbled upon a hidden grove, nestled within the heart of Veilwood. It was a serene place, untouched by the passage of time, adorned by a sparkling brook and ancient trees. A figure was seated on a mossy rock by the brook. It was an elderly man, his beard as white as winter's first snow, his eyes holding the wisdom of ages. He was strumming a harp, the melody remarkably familiar, the tune that Edelhart had grown accustomed to. Recognizing the tune and the man's harp, Edelhart approached, introducing himself and sharing his plight. The elderly man introduced himself as Eolandi, the guardian of Veilwood and the creator of the magical harps. Eolandi was moved by Edelhart's tale of his love for music, his perseverance, and his determination to break the curse. He confessed that the magical harp was a test, intended for those who truly loved music, not for personal glory but for the sheer joy of creating melodies that would touch hearts. Eolandi admitted that he had underestimated the depth of human greed and had not anticipated that the harp would curse instead of blessing the person who found it. However, he also believed that every curse had a cure, and every test, a solution. Eolandi then set a challenge for Edelhart. He had to compose a song, an original melody that reflected his journey, his passion for music, his sorrow of turning to stone, and his hope for freedom. If Edelhart succeeded, Eolandi promised to lift the curse. Edelhart accepted Eolandi's challenge with a determined spirit. He poured his heart and soul into his music, letting his emotions flow through the strings of his harp. Each night, the villagers would gather around to hear Edelhart's compositions, their hearts resonating with the emotions embodied in his music. Days turned into weeks as Edelhart painstakingly worked on his composition. He experimented with various rhythms, each reflecting a part of his journey. The composition echoed his frustration and despair, mirrored his hope and determination, and celebrated his love for music. Finally, the day arrived when Edelhart felt satisfied with his composition. As the moon rose, casting a silvery glow on Veilwood, Edelhart ventured into the forest, his heart pounding in anticipation. He found Eolandi in the hidden grove, the soft melody from the old man's harp echoing in the night. Edelhart took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts and emotions. As he strummed the strings of his harp, the notes echoed his story. The soft, melancholic tunes sang the tale of his plight, the energetic rhythm reflected his determination, and the soothing melody spoke of his deep love for music. As the final notes faded into the night, silence engulfed the grove. Eolandi, moved by Edelhart's raw and sincere composition, smiled warmly. He praised Edelhart's melody, commending his dedication, and kept his promise. He lifted the curse, freeing Edelhart from his stone-bound fate. Free from his curse, Edelhart rushed back to the village, cradling his magical harp. As he entered Lyrastone, the villagers flocked around him, their faces filled with anticipation. When Edelhart strummed his harp, a familiar melody resonated, yet this time, it was different. It was a song that spoke of freedom, of breaking chains, a celebration of an ended curse. A chorus of gasps and cheers echoed through the village as the first light of dawn broke and Edelhart remained the same. His skin did not harden, his warmth did not fade away, he was no longer a prisoner of the sun. The air was filled with jubilation as the villagers rejoiced, their hearts full of happiness for their beloved musician. They celebrated with a grand feast, songs of joy and laughter echoing through the village. However, despite the joyous celebration, Edelhart was lost in his thoughts. He remembered Eolandi's words about the harp being a test. It was a reminder that talent, skill, or magic could never replace hard work, patience, and the love for one's craft. The magical harp was indeed a gift, but it also served as a lesson. He was a prisoner to his desire for quick success, which led him to the harp, which in turn turned him to stone. His freedom was not merely the breaking of the physical curse, but the liberation from his self-imposed shackles of impatience and frustration. In the days that followed, Edelhart's music changed. While his melodies remained beautiful, they now held a depth that was absent before. His tunes carried the wisdom of his experience and the lessons learned from his trials. His music was not just a display of extraordinary talent, but also a reminder of the importance of patience, perseverance, and love for one's craft.